All good. Hey, welcome to BSB TV. Second one for the today, which is absolutely amazing. We're getting back on the road with a bang. Karen McDonald, how are you going?
Hello. Welcome, everybody.
Now, you've got Cascade Accounting.
I do.
Just checking. And basically, you approached me in December because there's so much confusion around this whole JobMaker stuff.
There is.
And I understand why there's so much confusion, because jobs have to be eligible and people have to be eligible, and then the job and the $100, $200, a whole lot of people can't claim. It's all over the place.
It's very crazy, Kevin. It's lots of ifs and buts and fine print. You know, we had a bucket load of people on JobKeeper, and we were happy to help work with them and get them through. But, you know, we seriously have looked through our client base, and we just have, you can count them on one hand, the number of people we've got that are actually eligible for JobMaker, because there are so many hoops to jump through.
So let's start with the business hoops, because that's where most of our problems are going to start. Hey, I'm running a business and I want to put on a new person. What do we have to have for the business to be eligible?
You have to be registered for STP. You have to have all your lodgements of BAS and income tax up to date. And you must then look at what your headcount was at the 30th of September 2020. And you need to have an increase in headcount and an increase in the pay based on that fortnight ending 6th of October 2020, which was budget night when this program was announced.
Cool. Now, let's talk about that for a second, because here's the first question I have. When we talk about headcount increase, is this full-time equivalents or is this just raw numbers of people?
It's just raw numbers of people.
So if I had, 5 people employed, but it was only 3 full-time equivalent jobs, if I've lost 2 of those people and I want to put on an extra person, so my actual full-time equivalence is going up, but I'm only having 4 now instead of the 5, I can't claim.
Your headcount and your payroll has to increase. No ifs, no buts.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a loophole or a problem that could be there. And we're not saying that this is perfect, but it's at least the government is trying to give people an incentive to recruit new jobs. And I get that is the value proposition that they're looking for there. So it's worked on raw numbers of people that go through your payroll rather than the total hours of work that's there. It's as of the, what did you say, the 30th September?
Well, it's the pay cycle up to the 6th of October.
Okay.
Is your baseline.
Yep.
So basically, the night they announced it, you cannot manipulate it. So whenever your pay cycle finishes, the last one, that's your baseline, and then your pays from the 7th of October onwards are eligible.
Okay, so if you're about to increase headcount from that beyond the 6th of October, the 7th of October, if your headcount's going up, then the company will be eligible to claim JobMaker. Yeah?
Correct, yes. If
awesome.
all other things are equal, your BAS is up to date and you're registered for STP.
Cool. So your BAS, and you also mentioned your income tax. So your
all your lodgements have to be in line with your tax agent's automatic extensions.
Awesome. So
and most people have gotten up to date now because they had to be up to date for JobKeeper.
Excellent. So the next step is the person eligible. Now, you've actually been caught out on this. You confessed to me. You're hiring 2 new people. Congratulations that you're hiring 2 new people. That's fantastic news. But neither of them are eligible.
Absolutely, which is a real pain.
that sucks a bit.
It does. It sucks big time.
I'm just calling it as I see it.
Yeah.
Because the government's trying to get more people employed, which is fantastic, and
Yep.
yet, but obviously you're not taking anyone from not. So tell me a little bit more about why your people are ineligible.
One of them is a school leaver, and so she hasn't been down to Centrelink.
Yep.
And the other person is a university graduate who is also on a visa. He's from overseas, but he's been here. He's actually been working at QUT. So he's coming out of another job and we're picking him up. And so he's ineligible as well, which is really quite painful. But, that's how
It's
it goes.
unfortunate. But hey, you're putting them on because of a growth in your business, and that's fantastic. And as I said, congratulations on that. So it's important that that we understand who's eligible. So what are the rules around who is eligible?
Well, that's the fun part. You had to have been on a government subsidy, job seeker, youth allowance, or parenting payment for at least 28 consecutive days or 2 fortnights in the last 6 fortnights. They don't make it easy.
No. So basically they're saying, hey, you need to have been getting some subsidy for 1 month out of the last 3.
Yep.
And it has to be a consecutive month. It can't be 2 weeks at the start, 2 weeks at the end. It has to be a consecutive month.
The other annoying part about this is that we're digging into some personal information of people before we employ them that we would normally otherwise not be allowed to ask them. So one of them is, have they been on Centrelink, which normally would be none of an employer's business. And the second one is their age, which, we're not supposed to be asking in interviews. So, yeah, it's a tricky one.
Yeah, you can't ask age or sex or anything like that. But anyway, so, and their age is very critical because there's 2 different age ranges for the levels of the support.
Yes. From 16 to 29, you get $200 a week subsidy to the employer towards those wages that you're paying. And for a person 30 to 35, it's $100 per week paid to the employer as a subsidy for those wages.
Cool. So if someone's over 35, they're not eligible?
Not under JobMaker, which is really, I don't get it. It's really strange.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing because obviously, we know that we have a challenge with unemployment of mature people, particularly over the age of 50. It gets worse. Over the 60, it's way worse again. So you'd be thinking that they would like to do that. Now, the other thing that I read from a bit of information that you gave me was this was also eligible for even if you've just got a casual job.
You've got to be working 20 hours a week. So that's the minimum.
Yeah, but if you have a 1 month contract that you need somebody for as well, you could put someone in that could use the JobMaker, and you would be eligible for that sort of employment situation.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, so that's good because that's helping get people active and moving. Getting them meaningful employment. There is an hours threshold as well, though.
They must work at least 20 hours a week.
And is it then prorated beyond that, or is it just a lump sum? You get the 100 or 200 if they do more than 20 hours. You don't get it if you go under. Okay.
It's the only proratering is I did a demonstration with the ATO before Christmas, and they were going to prorata part weeks based on days. And they had it down to cents. And I said, well, hang on a minute. Isn't it $20, $40, $60, $80, $100? So fingers crossed when they bring out the actual claim that they've seen cents and not prorated by dividing by 365 and multiplying and all that crap to make it dollars and cents.
That gets really, really confusing. Okay, so if you're about to hire someone and you're interested in seeing if you can get support for this, the really important things are, one, it has to be additional to your headcount that you had on the 6th of October. So basically the end of September. Has to be new additional raw number headcount, not full-time equivalent headcount. Okay, that's part one. Then, and your taxes, all of your lodgements have to be up to date.
Yep.
Then you start looking at the person and seeing if they've been receiving some subsidy from the government over basically 1 month in the last 3. Yeah?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Then we look at their age to see whether you could be getting,
between 16 and 35.
Yeah, 16 to 35. So, could you get $200 a week, which is about $10,000 a year, or could you get $100 a week, $5,000 a year, which is going to help you, pay through that time period. So
the
then
other nasty bit is it's all paid in arrears. So the period from 7th of October 20 to the 6th of January 2021 cannot be paid until after the 1st of Feb 2021. So, you've paid the wages and potentially 4 months later, you can then get in line to get the subsidy back.
The government have been actually very good with the timeliness of these payments traditionally, with the job, all that sort of stuff. But once the claim goes in, they normally don't take forever to get back to you.
We've found it's less than 7 days in most cases for JobKeeper, which has been fabulous.
Yeah.
And that's been really helpful.
That support would be kind of a rolling 3 months that you could be out of pocket for that rolling 3 months.
3 to 4 months. Yeah.
Or 4 months. Yeah. So, okay. Which is still, it's still better to get the incentive. There are some hoops to jump through, but at the end of the day, you are looking at payments of $5,000 a year or whatever. So so the question that you're going to ask is there $5,000 worth of administration to get the $5,000 payment?
I think there's $5,000 worth of questioning for some people, because I've had some people write to me every week. And that has been frustrating, and I'm sure anyone who thinks they are eligible, the lack of information has been frustrating, but certainly it's going to be quite cheap for the business, quite economical for the business to administer, because it is one claim every 3 months.
Yeah, and once it gets going, then you'll know exactly how you're just putting that claim in.
Yeah, and it's not a big deal. If you have a look on my blog, scroll right down to the bottom and it shows the screen so far. Obviously, there's going to be a bit more information. We've been following up with our payroll people to see when they're going to release the single touch payroll enhancements, and they've gone pardon. So, there's a bit of a surprise there, but I'm hoping that the developers are actually already across it, because the ATO are pretty good with accounting software developers and keeping them up to date. But their support line certainly didn't know about it and tried to tell us to put in a chart of accounts and tried to push us back to JobKeeper, and we're then, no, this was announced on the 6th of October. So
Absolutely. So, look, fantastic. Now, you've written a blog. We've already included that blog in the comments for this particular show. So if you go to the top of the comments, you'll find Karen's blog. Go there, have a look. If they have more questions, though, are you happy to field more questions?
Yes, happy to field questions.
And your phone number, of course, is on the blog somewhere.
Yes. They're probably best to get me on email in the first instance.
Right. Because it could be a really simple answer that really doesn't require a whole lot of time being taken up and that sort of stuff. Don't you love those hosts that forget to tell their guests to turn their phones off and forget to do the same themselves? early in the year. I need retraining right from the very start. Turn your phone off before the show. Maybe that's somebody seeing if they can get JobKeeper, and I'm just going to send them straight to you anyway. So thanks very much for your time today. It's been fantastic.
Thank you.
So we're also going to share a link to the government site. Have a look at Karen's, because that will be government speak in human language and English, to the best of our knowledge at this point in time. And these things, quite often they have, they make mistakes when they first put some of these shows, some of these incentives together. We saw that very much with the Job Seeker and JobKeeper and all that sort of stuff. And it was rolling around, particularly now that we're getting to that first lodgement. I won't be shocked if the government have a few more little cheat sheets and stuff coming out over the next fortnight.
Yes. We're waiting to see more released.
Absolutely. So Karen's blog, that's the best place to go. We will also put the government stuff there. It is fairly simple from looking at it. It does actually create more questions on other things that the government are doing, but we won't talk about those today because that'll just confuse everyone. So if you're interested, if you're expanding, you're interested to see if you could qualify for JobMaker, have a quick read of Karen's blog. Thank you very much for your time today, Karen.
Thank you.
I will speak to you soon.
Bye, Kevin.